is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So on Thursday, I revealed my first ever McDavid Mountain, which was a pyramid tier list with McDavid at the top, then working our way down and went like superstars, elite number one centers, good number one centers, solid number one centers. It was inspired by Nick Wright of First Things First from Fox Sports 1. Go watch that if you want, but funny enough, the alliteration does carry over to defenseman, considering the fact that the number one consensus defenseman in the NHL right now is Makar. His last name starts with an M, so we're doing Makar Mountain. We are looking at basically like 25, I think 25 to 27, I forget the exact number, of defensemen, and we are pyramid tier listing them, spoiler alert, with Cale Makar on top. And don't get me wrong, the gap between Cale Makar in number 2, number 3 in the entire NHL is way smaller than Connor McDavid. There's a possibility in a year from now we're talking about a different defenseman as the best defenseman in the entire NHL, especially considering Makar's stats have been kind of concerning away from Nathan MacKinnon the last season or so. But Makar's the best defenseman in the NHL right now, so we are rolling with him at the top. And here's how it goes. Up first, we got the solid number ones. Basically, they're good number ones. Play 23 to 24 minutes a night, maybe on a playoff team, fringe playoff team, or just straight up bad team. Have good results, put up around 60-ish points or something like that. Great top pair. They probably have a franchise defenseman, but they're just amazing in that top pair role and help elevate that great defenseman. Up first, Vince Dunn. I think that he's criminally underrated when looking at what he's done in Seattle the past 2 years. Has been around 60 to 65 points, while also being okay defensively. He's not some amazing defenseman, but 60 to 65 points in solid defense, playing 23, 24 minutes a night. That's a solid number one. And Seattle has made the playoffs one of those years and was a decent team the other. Shea Theodore, I think he's the best defenseman on the Vegas Golden Knights. You could maybe even throw Hannafin and Pietrangelo on this. Again, I can't fit 25 people down here, so I had to cut it off somewhere. But yeah, I think Shea Theodore, if he's fully healthy this year, would not shock me if he goes for 65, 70 points. Such a talented offensive player. Mackenzie Weegar, very underrated guy, had like 20 goals last year, like 52 points in total on a Calgary Flames team that really wasn't that good. And to start this season, he's playing good. Victor Hedman might be a little bit controversial in this spot. I said it before, the offense is very impressive. The defensive numbers have been actively bad the last 2 seasons, so I can't quite push him up to that very good number one tier. Still a legit number one guy, still going to get you 75 points, but until those defensive numbers kind of improve, I can't really go that far. We got Matthias Ekholm, one of the better two-way defensemen, especially defensemen in the entire NHL. Last year was like 8th among all defensemen in even strength points. He doesn't get top power play time, and he still had around like 45 points while being great defensively. John Carlson is a guy that I think does not get nearly enough respect. He was on a Washington team last year that didn't really generate a ton of offense. I think he's going to bounce back this season. We're seeing Washington have a really good start. Devon Toews, again, last year wasn't his best season, but prior years was like a top 10 defenseman and a great partner for Cale Makar. Gustav Forsling, after the season that he had last year, looks like he's starting pretty strong this year. Great in the playoffs. You got to have him as a solid number one. Sergachev has really impressed me in terms of the fact that he looks like his old self. He's around point per game right now, playing like 26 minutes a night for the Utah Hockey Club. Noah Dobson, 70 points last year at only 23 years old. Last night had the shootout winner from the New York Islanders, and I think he's just going to continue to at least stay at that level or even get better. Erik Karlsson, still a damn good offensive defenseman. Maybe doesn't play the most defense, but very talented offensively. Jake Sanderson. This might be a little bit too early, but I don't care. I've been hyping this guy up forever. Yes, last year he only had 39 points or whatnot. He is red hot to start this season. 7 points in 5 games while being great defensively in prior years. He's a legit number one defenseman. Rasmus Anderson's off to a hot start as well. And then Dougie Hamilton's a little bit tough. Slow start offensively this year, but when he's healthy on the New Jersey Devils the last 2023 and 2024, he's been around a 70-point guy. I think you got to have him as of right now. By the way, Drew Doughty's not going to be on this just because his injury was so severe to start the season. He's going to be out 3 months, and he's 33 years old, 34 years old. I don't know what he's going to look like post-injury. The next tier, we got the very good number one. I'm very high on Zach Werenski. I've said it multiple times. The dude had put up like 70-point pace last year on a pretty dog shit Columbus team. I think if you plugged him on like a half-decent team, he's consistently getting 65 to 70 points while being good defensively. Rasmus Dahlin, bit of a down year last year, slow start this season, but I think you can still agree that he's probably a top 10 defenseman in the NHL. Evan Bouchard, rough start to the season in terms of on-ice results. His analytics are still out of this world right now. Arguably the top defenseman in terms of analytics. And last year was around point per game. Yes, he does benefit from playing on that top power play, but he has taken that next step. Jacob Slavin on the flip side of that, amazing defensively. Maybe doesn't put up those gaudy point totals, but arguably the best defenseman in the entire NHL. And then to close it out, Josh Morrissey, back-to-back seasons of like 76 points in 2023 and then 69 points last year. Last year, he was actually pretty solid defensively as well. He has solidified himself as a top 10 defenseman, in my opinion, based on what he's done recently. The elite number ones, we got Miro Heiskanen, pretty self-explanatory. Among the defensemen that play outside of like Slavin that play 23 plus minutes, he's probably the best defensively in the entire NHL, as well as also maybe he doesn't have the offensive ceiling that he once did because Thomas Harley is so goddamn good, but has hit 73 points in his career, should be around 60-ish this year. Charlie McAvoy, an opponent's nightmare in terms of the physicality that he brings while also being very solid defensively. He's the smallest guy in that Boston Bruins defense corps, which is pretty funny because he's still an absolute dog. Roman Josi, we got Roman Josi, 85 points last year, 2 out of the last 3 years. He's been in the Norris runner-up and won it in 2020. Although the Nashville Predators are having a bit of a slow start this season, I think we can all agree he is a no doubt top. I don't see you having him outside of your top 5. I'm not going to lie. The stars tier. We got Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes. If you know me, I do think Adam Fox is a little bit better than Quinn Hughes, but it's close. They are definitely in that top tier, approaching Cale Makar when looking at Adam Fox. The last 4 years has been top 5 in Norris voting every single year. I think he should have had a second Norris trophy back in 2023, off to a really hot start with like 6 points in his first 5 games. Great two-way guy. Quinn Hughes, Norris winner last year. No doubt top 3 defenseman in the entire NHL, having a pretty strong start this year and really took steps last year defensively to become elite in both categories. This is your second and third best defenseman in the entire NHL. I could maybe see arguments for Roman Josi considering the offense production, but at this point, I don't think this list is nearly as controversial as the other one. And then at top, we got Cale Makar, the best offensive defenseman in the NHL, and defensively needs to improve off last season, but still has been very damn good the past 2 years. Near generational defensive talent, no doubt Hall of Famer. Probably gonna be a Hall of Famer after this year if he retired tomorrow. Considering this guy's track record, he is awesome. He is freaking awesome. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this Mountain? I think that this one is less controversial. I think some people are going to want Hedman higher, but that's like the top 3 tiers I think are perfect. I think that's your top 5. Maybe Charlie McAvoy you have a little bit lower than me, but definitely the Heiskanen and Roman Josi are a tier above the guys that are below them. Evan Bouchard's going to be, some people are going to say that he's absolute ass, and I understand that he does play in the Edmonton Oilers, but every single stat and underlying stat proves that this guy is damn good and broke out last season, and there's more of the same to follow this year. Zach Werenski might get some hate just because people don't want Columbus, but I do think that he is better than, maybe not like massively better than the guys below him. He's definitely the weakest of that tier, I would say, but I think he belongs in that tier up considering what, again, he's done on bad Columbus teams. But yeah, what else? I'm trying to see if Moritz Seider people are going to scream for. I think he's a good top pair guy as right now. He's not fully proven it as that solid number 1 in that solid number 1 role. So I don't have him. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you think about that Mountain, Makar Mountain? There's no alliteration for goalies, although I might still do it. I don't know. Goalies are tough because I feel like it goes Shesterkin, Hellebuck, and then I don't really know how to tier like 3 through 11. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this one? And I'll be seeing you in the next one.